In this video, we are going to conclude the construction of our concrete structure. From the last video, we had put in our foundation walls, we had put in our girders, we had put in our beams, and we put in our columns and our footings. So now we are ready to complete the floors above to continue the structure on up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my level 1 plan and I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to use my filter and I'm going to do check none, and I want to select my structural beam systems, my structural framing for my girders, and my structural framing for my joists, and I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to go in my modify and I'm going to go copy to clipboard, and now you see my paste becomes available, and I'm going to do align to selected levels, and I want to pick level 2 only because I've got to add some things in before I copy on up to level 3 and the roof. So this may take a second or two. And now I'm going to go to my 3D view to see exactly what I've got. So as you can see, I have got all of my beam systems and I've got the main girders that I put in between, but I'm missing now a girder at every location where I have a foundation wall below. So now I'm going to go to my level 2 plan and I'm going to go to my structure tab and go to my beam. I want to select my concrete 12 by 24, that's what we used before, and notice on the picture it has a blue line down the middle, so this typically always is going to be centered on your column layout. So I'm going to select that, and I do need to change the top of this to be 0 and the Z offset to be 0 so that it is level with my other beams or my other girders. Now I'm going to select it and I'm going to draw from center to center, and I'm going to draw this one from center to center. And before I go any further, I'm going to do a section through this because I want to check to make sure that everything does align. And down here, of course, I have my foundation wall, so that one doesn't matter. What matters is that these two girders are at the same elevations, and they are, so I'm in good shape. So now I'm going to go back to level 2 and I'm going to continue adding my beams all the way around the perimeter. I'm going to stop my video at this point and do that so that you're not having to sit and watch me do that, and then I will come back on my video. I now have all of my girders in place. If you look around the perimeter, I have followed all the way around. So now I should have everything that I need. So again, I'm going to go back to my 3D view, and if I hold down my shift key and turn around, you can see now I have some kind of structural support for all of these beams to be attached to. I thought this might be an appropriate time to add in some surprising facts about concrete that I bet you've never heard before. 1. Reinforced concrete is the only building material that is highly resistant to both water and fire. Number 2. Concrete is the best material for road construction. Number 3. The first concrete highway was built in 1909. Number 4. Concrete was used as a building material in ancient Rome. Number 5. The British Army used concrete to detect enemy aircraft. Number 6. Concrete and cement are not the same thing. This is a pet peeve of mine when I hear someone refer to concrete as cement, as they are not the same. Number 7. Concrete is a popular material for high-end countertops, sinks, fireplaces, and floors. Number 8. Reinforced concrete is the only building material used for underwater structures. Number 9. Concrete has an incredibly high compressive strength. Number 10. The world's largest concrete structure is in China. Hopefully you learned something out of that little side note. So the next thing I need to do is I need to copy these beams and girders up to my 3rd and my roof levels. Now that I'm in my level 2 plan, I'm ready to copy everything up. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to use my filter and I'm going to take out my grids, and I'm going to take out my columns, and I'm going to take out my views. And now I should just have all of the girders and beams that I need to copy up. Then I'm going to go to my copy to clipboard, and now I can go to paste, align the selected levels, and this time I'm going to pick third level, and if I hold down the control key I can pick the roof at the same time and say OK. This may take a few seconds. And now I'm going to go to my 3D view to make sure that it did get copied, and that looks really good. The next thing we need to do is we need to add the floor slabs. We're going to use this basic 6-inch concrete floor slabs, but keep in mind there is actually a lot more to the floor slab than that. We're keeping ours very simple just so you understand. The other thing that we need to take into account is that we want the floor slab to set on top of our beams and girders. It needs to be able to be above those levels. So I'm going to go to my level 1 plan, and I'm going to go to floor, and I'm going to go to floor structural. If I come over here to my type selector, I have a 6-inch concrete floor, and we're going to use that. But keep in mind there are lots of different options here. The one thing that I want to make sure of is right here where it says level 1 and then height offset from that level. And that's where I want to put in 6 inches, so it will set on top of that level. And then I can say apply, and now it's ready for me to sketch. So I'm going to select my line tool, and I'm going to go to the outside of my walls, and like where this one kind of offsets from the edge of the column, I'm going to continue around. And again, I'm going to pause my video, and when I'm completed I will come back. For 5 extra credit points, tell me what the largest concrete structure is in China, and tell me how tall that it actually is. Send this information to me in an email. Now back to our lesson. I have gone around the perimeter for my floor, and I'm ready to click on the check mark. It asks me, do I want my walls to go up this floor's level to attach to its bottom? I do not. The only actual walls I have are my foundation walls, and they are already where I want them. So I want to say don't attach. Now if I go and I look at my 3D view, you see I have my floor slab, and it's sitting on top of my foundation wall. If I go back to my level 1 plan and I go back and I look at this section that I have here, you can see where that floor is sitting on top of my beams and my girders. I'm going to go back to my 3D view, and the last thing that we need to do to complete our structure is we need to copy this floor up to the other levels. So I can just select the floor, and again I can go copy to clipboard, and I can go to paste, and I can say align the selected levels. This case I'm going to pick level 2, hold down the control key, level 3, and the roof, and I'm going to say OK. Again, this may take a few seconds. And now I have my completed concrete structure. What would happen at this point after they build this portion? Then they would come in and the architect would add the finishes of how they want the interior and the exterior of this structure to be finished out. They could add precast panels to it, they could add concrete panels to it, they could add metal studs with brick to it. Lots of different things that can be done at this point. But this is how you build a concrete structure in Revit. As I mentioned, we're not doing any connections on this part of the project. We will do that when we get into the precast concrete.